Hey, 77 Mowers back with another video. This one specifically focuses on Yardworks lawnmower with a single handle height adjustment. I never thought these would actually break, but this one did. Check this video out. So as I mentioned, it's a Yardworks lawnmower with a single handle height adjustment, and the client was using it and he heard a little pop and the whole lawnmower just sank to the ground. So what this is, it's a single handle height adjustment, which requires a few moving parts, one specifically in the back that combines with the axle. This one specifically has rear wheel drive as well, so that's a component that needs to be addressed when changing out this part I'm going to show you. And then there's a bar that goes along the left side of the lawnmower. As you use your single handle height adjustment and you move it back and forth, it moves the arm back and forth, which then raises and lowers the front end of your lawnmower. So specifically, this is the part I'm talking about. It will actually sit in the lawnmower like this. This side, these little brackets here, they hold a spring and a pin. Your wheel goes on here, your drive comes through here. But what's broken on this lawnmower is this little pin right here. So what's happened is that's sheared off, and this is where the bar sits that controls the front wheels from going up and down. So when that bar sheared off, when that pin sheared off, sorry, this bar right here just collapsed, and that collapsed the whole front wheel system. So what ended up happening was, it's a little bit dangerous, but what ended up happening was he was able to get the lawnmower shut off, but it cut a nice big hole of dirt in his lawn, specifically 21 inch. He's not very happy about that, but let's get his lawnmower fixed up, and then he'll have to seed that in the spring. So what I'm going to show you is how to get to that axle. Sorry, I'm working in a bit of a confined space today. First off, you got to take this wheel cover off to get at the bolt that holds the wheel. Just take a small flathead screwdriver in the back, and they just pop right off. Nothing big, no big complex thing. And specifically, we've got 13 mil socket. We're just going to take the wheel off. I'll put that with the cap. Okay, and what you got underneath here, underneath your wheel, there's part of the axle that I was showing you. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit here. No, I can't. So here's part of the axle that I was showing you. This is the part of the axle that the wheel rides on. And here is your drive gear. Underneath is going to be, somewhere just under here, is going to be the transmission, the drive axle, and that drives your drive gears. So we just got to get these plates off, which I believe we have to get these gears off before we can do that. So the whole rear end is going to need to be disassembled. It's a bit of a job, but the lawnmower is only a couple years old. Specifically, I think this one is about 2 years old, 2 or 3. The parts were very cheap. I think all in all, it's about 40 bucks for the parts, but it's a very expensive lawnmower. It's about a $700 lawnmower, and given it's only a couple years old, I think it's worth the repair, and the owner thinks it's worth the repair. So let's get that all done. Okay, so where we're at so far is I've already worked on the other side. I've got the wheel off, I've got the drive gear off, I've disconnected, there's a little pin with a spring that holds for the single handle height adjustment. I just got to get this gear off with a set of pop spring pliers, stick it in there, get that little ring off, and then I can get the gear off. And then from there, I think we have to tilt this on its side and try and get the rest of the shaft and the drive system out, so we can change out that bar that I showed you earlier. This one's kind of messy. Let's see if we can get in there and get that ring. Just like that. Just a little snap ring. You gotta pull that out. Let's set that to the side. A little tip, if you're gonna do something like this, what I like to do is I have all the components for the one side all together, and then I put all the components for the other side together on, well, this specifically I used the hubcap. It seems to work fairly well. So we're just gonna grab a rag here. We're gonna pull that drive gear off. We're gonna sit it here with the snap ring. And this cover, this just comes off. It's more dust cover, keep the drive system all clean. So we'll take that off. Put that with the wheels. And now I think we just need to tilt it up on its side. So give me a second, let's get that all set up, and we'll go from there. So I actually missed one minor step. Before we flip this over, what we should probably do is these little guide pins on the drive shaft here, or I'll call it the drive shaft, they come out. So before we lose those, I'll show you the little pin. Right there. Before we lose those, let's take those out. Put them per side. And we had to adjust the height of the wheels to a certain height to get our screwdriver in here. Pull out a few screws. Now these I'll just let them drop. I'll pick them up from the bottom. There's one. This one might be a little hard to get out because the bar is out of place, and that's what we're trying to fix. Try. Let's see if we can get, actually, a pair of thin needle nose pliers down there. See if we can grab that screw. Huh, perfect. There you go. Okay, so I think now we're pretty much in a position to get this axle out of here. Let's put it up on its side and see where we're at. So I tipped it upside down, and I found where those screws were screwed into is a little plate like that, one on each side, and that's the axle rides right here. It sits on that, and that's what basically holds it in. So I tipped it back up. As you can see, I've got it here resting on my wood to keep it up. As soon as I pull that wood out, the rear axle is all of it's gonna come out. So then I just got to change over the handle, this piece right here, for the single lever adjustment, and there's a spring right here as well to make it easy for much kind of like a garage door. Your garage door has a spring. This handle has a spring to help lift the lawnmower and lower it. So as soon as I pull this out, that's all gonna come down. That'll be good. So let's get that out. There's a little spring on this side. You're going to tilt your lawnmower. Make sure you tilt it with the carburetor side up. Just in case you don't want to flood your carburetor with gas. So make sure it's carburetor side up. Let's get my cart turned here. Like I said, I'm working with a small space today, so a little bit frustrating. That little spring is right here. And then this is the bar that controls for the front height. This should slide right out, except for the belt. So we just got to get that belt. Give me 1 second. So I don't know if anybody's ever tried this. As a DIY guy, that was a pain. I'll be honest. Maybe there's a faster way to do it. You know, comments below. Please comment. I'll be sure to take your advice next time. As you can see, I've got the drive system out now. Might as well clean it a little bit while I'm in there. You know, look at my past videos. I get a dirty lawnmower. You know, get some of the junk out of there. Clean the deck a little bit. You know, this stuff, this is what rots your deck. It gets wet and stays wet forever, and you start to see bubbling on the top side of your deck. That's why. So I've got it all apart. Now I just got to get excuse me, the handle and this spring off of this axle piece, and then get the drive system out from the boundaries of this axle and onto the new one, and then everything goes all back in for reassembly. So I think that's where it's almost 2 o'clock and I have to go out somewhere for a little bit. So I'm going to wrap this up for now and then come back and get it all finished up. Sorry about that. Welcome back. I just had a few running around to do. So what I got to do is I got to get this little clip out here, and then that will allow this whole shaft to basically slide out of the housing that I need to change, the axle that I need to change. And then once I get that all out, then I can get it all reassembled and get it all put back together. Okay, so I got that out, and if you notice, there's no pin here because it's broken, but there is a pin on this side. So we're gonna get this new part in. Okay, so I got this mower all back together now. I did not film the reassembly just because I'm trying to keep the videos short. You know, too long, you get bored. But basically the reassembly process is the disassembly process, just backwards. As you can see, it's all back together now. The single handle height adjustment still works for the back and works as it should for the front. So the client will be happy. I'll let him know and he can come and get it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click like, hit subscribe for future videos. See you in the next one.